finally stopped dragging them across the platform and allowed them to walk on their own. He convinced them to duck behind a pillar of the lattice work over their heads. Looking around the pillar, the strange blob thing still hadn't moved. It looked in their direction, but it hadn't moved. "You're so stupid! That being was telling us the history of this world. It was being nice to us. We were about to get refreshments. How can you be so inconsiderate?" June punched Vic in the chest and crossed her arms. "Okay, it was being nice to you now. What happens when that little thing figures out we're the ones that moved this planet, intending to get paid for all the minerals on it? Do you think it's going to be nice to us then? I think it'll have the bright idea of killing us. Plus, we've got ourselves another problem. Sheriff Buford T. Justice is here." "We already know he's here. He's sitting out there waiting for us," Joey said. "That's not what I meant, kid. I meant he's here as in inside the planet, and he has a little police cruiser with him, and a couple of other officers are being led this way just like we are." June sighed and rolled her head. "So what you're saying is that as well as this was going, we're probably going to end up dead this time?" "I've got a plan." June was certain Vic didn't have anything resembling a plan. He would have to make this one up as he went along, his usual strategy. Joey pointed to Louis. "Who's he?" Vic didn't want to have to explain all this right now. They needed to get going. If they didn't keep moving, Sheriff Justice and his two cronies were sure to appear and put a big cramp on their style. "This is Lou Who. He's from Earth, a few years in the future from when you left, Joey. Apparently the military got a hold of it." "Who?" "Right, Lou Who," Vic confirmed, but June still didn't understand. She finally saw the name tag on the soldier, and it clicked. "Is your mom all right?" Joey sounded concerned. As far as they knew, Joey had been the last person to talk to his mother. Vic probably wished he had news, as June could feel it bother him from time to time, that he knew nothing of how his mom was doing, or had done after he left. The little glimpses he'd gotten from June and Joey were all he had to go on. It was still more than June and Joey had got of their parents after they'd been transported, and more than Lou's family would ever get. "I don't know. We can make introductions later. Can we just get going?" Vic motioned for them all to move off the platform. "Sir, I think if we head in that direction, we'll find better coverage. As we are coming up to the platform, I saw foliage." Lou pointed more toward the front of the platform rather than the back where Vic had pointed. Sure, now Vic found someone else to be on the crew, and one that called him Sir. What was next? Would this Lou character start doing certain chores on the ship for Vic? June was glad to see another person from Earth, but Vic had better not treat this person like some sort of servant. She'd stopped him from doing that with Joey, and he would stop him from doing it with this Lou person. "You heard the soldier. Let's move it. We need to get back to the ship and get out of here." "Vic, if you've killed us..." "June, I'm kind of attached to this body. I'm not about to lose it today. Say, you didn't tell that blob anything, did you? I mean, if we just run away, that's one thing. If it knows we're responsible for moving this planet, that's another." "It was just being nice. I'm still not sure I understand what it was trying to explain to us, but it was nice, and that's all that mattered. I'm sure if we just explained that this was all a mistake, we could tow it back home and be done with it." Dexter, Argmon, and Joey had all started down the stairs. Vic was glad they were going back down, but not further up. These things took a lot out of a guy. "You think it would be that simple? With Sheriff Justice here? I don't think the good sheriff will paint us in a good light with your friend back there. We're better off just being gone. Now, can we get going?" Vic started down, but June hadn't budged. Lou had started down the steps with the rest. "June, don't do this. Muffin is waiting with the ship. As soon as we get back to her, we're out of here. Just like none of this ever happened." June elbowed past him. It was just like the old Vic, to cut out when things got tough, rather than stay and do what's right. "I don't like it. It's not right. We should stay here and help these, whatever they are." Vic followed behind. "What's not right? Looking out for ourselves? We don't owe this planet anything. Stranding these people away from their home star, that's what's not right. We've moved them here. Who's going to move them back?" "What do they need a star for? They've got one right in the middle of their planet." "Vic," Joey called up the stairs, "their home star we pulled them away from is powering the source of this star in the middle of their planet. That's what Plu Plupanu was telling us. He said that the scientists think the internal star might become unstable. Vic stopped and ran his hands through his hair. And who do you think is going to get the blame for this? Poo-Poo up there is going to kill us, and Sheriff Justice will make sure he's just going to see us hang. Don't any of you get that? Our best bet is to hightail it out of here and try this again another time. Now, can we just get a move on? Sir, I think we should get under cover. There are a couple of guards making their way over here. The Marine pointed to the large round head moving around the central pyramid. June grabbed Vic's arms. Vic, you need to trust me. We need to stay right here. Sheriff Justice might catch us, but leaving an entire civilization stranded in the middle of space? That's not you, and you know it. You're better than this. Vic looked at his feet and shook his head. Not this time. Maybe we can swing back in a couple of days after the heat is off us. Staying is just not an option. We need to get out of here. I just don't see any way out of this. Plu Plupunu is nice. I'm sure he'll understand if we offer to help take his planet back home. We're not going to get that far. We can't jump more than a little bit while dragging this planet. Sheriff Justice will catch us, and then we won't be doing anyone any good. Let's just go, and we'll come back later. She didn't trust him. Something about the way he was talking. She could tell Vic had no intention of ever coming back. They were too close to the BAMDA system, Sheriff Justice's home turf. If anything, once they left, there would be police monitoring this planet from every direction, and it would be impossible for them to help out. Vic knew that, and it must be part of his plan to protect his own skin. No. If you won't do anything, then just turn tail and get out of here. Me? I'm going to stay and explain to Plu Plupanu what exactly happened. Maybe we can do something to help. She could almost feel Vic's blood starting to boil. Not only did he hate it whenever she or Joey questioned him, he couldn't stand it when she wouldn't listen. Joey might disagree from time to time, but always acquiesced. This was one time when the crew needed to point out to Vic that what they were doing was wrong. She looked at each one in the eye. Dexter tilted his head to the side, confused. Argmon snarled, but made no noise. Lou looked like a puppy that had been beaten for peeing on the floor. Only Joey stood on the fence. She could feel the mixed emotions. He owed a lot to Vic, but that only made the choice more difficult. Joey couldn't stand to see June standing by herself in front of Vic, but he couldn't bring himself to stand by her side either. Leave. Just go. I'm sorry to see you leave, but we can't stay here any longer. Those things are coming, and if you're going to hold us up until we get caught, then stay here. Vic turned and started down the stairs. Argmon, Dexter, and Lou followed. June, we can't stay. Not just the two of us. We have to go. We're all that's left of Earth, and it's more important for us to stick together. More important? We already lost our world, so now you're suggesting that we abandon this one? We towed it all the way out here. We can't just leave this world to die. June wanted to slap some sense into Joey for being as stupid as Vic. He just stood there and stared at her, his mouth slightly open. He wanted to stay with her, but he thought Vic had the best idea in leaving. She didn't need to be able to sense his thoughts to know that. Joey, just go. I'll be all right. June turned and started back up. Wait! Joey grabbed her hand. She didn't want to turn around, so he would see her crying. She had an idea what he was about to say. I can't leave you. If you think staying is the best idea, then I'll stay by your side. I don't know what we'll be able to do, but maybe you're right. We lost our world. I would never be able to live with myself if we destroyed another. That wasn't quite what she had expected. She wiped the tears from her face. That's it then. Let's go. The two guards looked at June and Joey standing on the stairs. They didn't move, just stood there. At the bottom of the stairs, Vic had stopped and looked back up. The rest had disappeared under the plants with broad purple leaves. The movement showed where they were. He stood there for a long moment looking up at June and Joey before he shook his head and disappeared with the rest. We need to get back up there and talk to Plu Plupanu. We're going to need to explain everything that's happened, and Joey pulled June back as she tried to climb up the next step. He put his hand on her waist and turned her around. Climbing up to be on the same step with her, he pulled her in tight and put his face close to hers. I could never leave your side. Joey kissed her.
You've been listening to Hollow, V&A Shipping, Book 2, written and read by J.R. Murdoch. For more information about this production and its author, visit jrmurdoch.com. There are a lot of ways you can choose to spend your time. Thank you for choosing to spend it with me.